Hey, Coach. So my first question is, saying that this game was scheduled originally as the first game, what differences have you been able to, like, has there been a different sort of preparation you take for this one?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, whenever you play early in the season, you don't know much about the other team, and you really don't know much about your own team, to be quite honest, until you play some games. So now that I'm kind of glad that this game is towards the end of the season. I feel like we're in a pretty good place, and got a lot of confidence from some of our performances, especially the last two, and maybe they might be a little bit down, with the way their results have gone for sure. So I think both teams are in a little different spot than we would have been back then, for good or bad. But yeah, the preparation's a little different. But I'm really glad this is our last game of the fall, because it really does get us excited. It gives us something to play for. Since we didn't get to play for that conference championship. The Bedlam game's always special, so it kind of feels like this has a little end of season championship sort of feel to it for our group. So I'm excited about that.
And then one of the other things is just, has this game, is now that it's the last game and there's nothing after it, are a lot of these more experienced players kind of feeling a little bit of extra pressure to like really perform well in this one just because of it being like their last outing?
No, I don't think so. I think they feel the pressure because it's Bedlam, because I know we don't like losing to those guys ever. But, this whole, well, I shouldn't say the whole group, but the majority of this group will be here in the spring, and we intend to have our spring season hopefully leading up to the NCAA championship. So, right now I think all of them plan to be here for that. And so we certainly intend. We can't control COVID-19 and budgets and the NCAA and all the other things that go along, but we intend to have a spring season and hopefully get the opportunity to compete in an NCAA tournament next spring. So this is kind of the end for now, but we'll be back in January and hopefully preparing for a really good spring season.
And then one other thing that I was doing a little bit of research on just the success or lack of success in Norman the last few years. And one of the things that I kind of found was that you guys took the lead in most of those contests and then conceded late goals for like equalizers or even late winners from OU. So I guess my question is, how do you keep that edge and have whenever you have the lead and like hold on to it? Yeah,
I mean, the first thing is, whenever you go on the road in the Big 12 to try and get a win, it's hard. It doesn't matter who you are. And, going to your biggest rival makes it a little bit tougher. We've had some good success in Norman. I think we tied the last time, and they beat us the time before that, and we beat them the time before that. And, we've had a lot of success in the Bedlam series overall, of course, and we'll draw on those experiences. But, our seniors know what it takes to play in a Bedlam game, and our juniors, they have a lot of experience in these matches. And, I think we're 6-1-1 in our last 8 against them or something like that. So, we've definitely, we know what it takes to win down there. And it's a matter of going out and executing. They're a good program. They've got good players. They have a new coaching staff who I'm sure will get things rolling. And we know it'll be a big challenge, and those kids will be up for this game. They're going to have a lot of pride to play for. So it'll be a typical Bedlam game, and, we need to make sure that we just focus on our performance as we always do, execute the game plan, and in those crucial moments, make sure that we come out on top.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Coach.
Of course.
Hello, Coach. I apologize for hopping on a little late. My brother and I were actually filming a Cowgirl soccer segment on the local TV up here. So
Nice.
I apologize if this question's already been asked, but I kind of wanted to, hit on it for sure. I'm just wondering, I remember asking you the first week of the season, how exciting is it that Bedlam is the first game? And for obvious reasons, that story never made it to print. But I'll ask you now, just how excited is the team, and how excited are you personally to finally get this game in?
Yeah, I'm excited. Speaking for myself, I always get excited for any game, really, but for Bedlam more so. I've been here a long time, and I know what the rivalry means to people in our community and people, OSU alums and students. It's a big deal, and in every sport. So we understand that, and we take great pride in the fact that we've got a wonderful record against the Sooners over the years. And, it's never been easy. All the games seem to be hard fought. They seem to be close. And I would maybe anticipate a similar type of game down in Norman. So I'm excited, and, just judging by the team and the way we've trained this week in preparation, they seem really up for it as well. So I'd be surprised if we're not. Their buddies in school, I'm sure, are reminding them how important this game is. And around the athletic department, the other athletes, I know they all talk about it. So we'll if things don't go well for us tomorrow, it's not going to be because we're not up for the game. Our kids will be fired up.
And something that I'm kind of thinking is this game, it just feels a little weird, right? Because we're not sure what the next semester will hold with potential postseason. And, the Big 12 seeding is kind of, at least the number one team, TCU, that's already been decided. But at the same time, this is a rivalry game. So I guess, does this game just feel kind of weird to play with it, the season being in one aspect kind of solidified, like with their standings, but in the other aspect, not really knowing where the season's going at all?
Well, it is different, but, what we've talked with our team about is, number one, it's Bedlam. Number two, we want to enjoy every chance we get to play together and make the most of it. And then, the third thing for us is right now there's an NCAA tournament scheduled for April, and we want to be part of it. And for us to be part of it, finishing 6-2-1 and third in the league is going to look better than 5-3-1 and fourth in the league. So we've talked about how important that is for us to make sure we're in a good spot going into the spring, and our intentions to play 7 or 8 games this spring to get our team hopefully in a position to get invited to the NCAA tournament at the end of the year. And as long as that's something that's on the horizon, we're going to do everything we can to be ready, and our team understand how important this game is for all those reasons. So it's a little bit different, but the goal is the same. We want to beat OU, and we certainly want to be involved in the NCAA tournament in April if it comes to pass.
No doubt. Well, Ben and I are looking forward to it. We're actually making the trip to Norman ourselves, so we're excited for that. I'll pass it over to Ben right now.
Sounds good.
Hey, Coach, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well. And I'm going to do a little bit of reflecting in my next article for the O'Colly about kind of your season and, how things went for you. Coach, when you look back on the season, obviously there's still one game to play, but I'm curious, what was the happiest moment of the season for you?
Well, honestly, I probably going out on the field against K-State in the first game with everything that transpired from March through August and the uncertainty if we even get to play a match. I mean, watching our kids' expressions and their faces as we were taking the field to actually get to compete was unbelievable. It was quite emotional, to be quite honest with you. And, we all get caught up in winning and losing. The girls will tell you I'm as competitive as anybody. I hate losing. I love winning. But really bigger than that this year was getting to compete and getting to see these kids get to do what they love was really cool. So to me, that was probably the best moment. But from a soccer standpoint, beating West Virginia at home was really cool. It was a big moment for Olivia, a big moment for our team. And, West Virginia's had our number for many years, and to beat them at their place last year and our place this year, that was probably one of the best soccer moments, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And what was the funniest moment of the season for you?
Oh, man. Just trying to think if we funny moment. You have to let me think on that. I'll get back to you.
Okay, gotcha. And Coach, before I let you go, I wanted to congratulate you. You told me you wouldn't get a red card the rest of the way. And Coach, you got one more game to go. So keep at it. I'll be looking forward to watching you try and complete that.
Yellow card, not a red card. A red card will eject me right off the field. I don't need that, but no yellow cards either.
Thanks very much, Coach.
Yeah, you got it.
Anything else for Coach, or move on to players? All right.
I'm gonna jump back in if I think of a funny moment.
Hey guys.
Hey Hannah, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. So I'm gonna start this off by asking you, since coming off an off week where there wasn't a game, is there a different approach to having a game like on a Thursday plus a week off?
Not really. I mean, the only different thing was we had now about a week and a half to prepare for what OU will do. So we paid a lot of extra attention to our wide play and just some of the combinations and the formation that OU might play and some ways that we can exploit that. So we definitely were able to spend a little extra time just kind of figuring out how we can use our strengths to kind of attack OU.
Is there a different pace to how the practices go, not knowing that you have extra time, or is it just like the same practice you would have and then you just have a few extra days to do more of it?
So I think we do kind of the same things, but like this week our schedule was a little bit accelerated because obviously we do like on a normal week we'll have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday as kind of our real aggressive and tactical practices, and then Thursday will be kind of just a shape, a day where we focus on our shape and kind of prepare for the Friday game. But this week with the game on Thursday, we've kind of shifted things up a little bit to just account for that different schedule.
And then when just with this game, kind of, I mean, it's a rivalry game. It's going to mean a lot. So how do you, especially with it not being at home, how do you kind of hone in on what you need to do, like specifically in the match, so that you're not getting caught off guard, or you're not conceding a goal that maybe you wouldn't concede on a normal basis?
I think the key to a Bedlam game is staying focused, because I think it's so easy to get caught up in the rivalry, the aggression of the game. So you've really got to make sure that you stay focused in those key moments, because honestly, like no matter what the rankings are year to year, like the game against OU is tough. Like it's always a really aggressive match and just a classic Big 12 game. So the key to that is just really trying to stay focused on simple things.
Thanks, Hannah.
Hi, Hannah. Sorry, I'm not sure if you hear that buzzing or if that's me, but we'll move on. Okay, so I think that you were on the first availability we did. So I remember asking you, how exciting is it that Bedlam is the first game of the season and we get it in? But obviously that article did not make it to print. So I'll ask you now, with Bedlam being the last game, how exciting is the team as a whole and you individually for, I guess, maybe your last game at Bedlam and just a crack at OU in general?
I mean, if you go to OSU and you don't get pumped up for OU, then there's something wrong with you. But, I mean, as usual, as always, our team and myself, we're fired up to play OU. And especially in Norman, like, always it's fun to play at Neil Patterson. But to go to Norman and beat OU, I mean, there's really not a feeling better than that. So that's the hope for tomorrow night. And, you know, it's weird. We were supposed to play them earlier in the year, but no, it is what it is. The game was moved, and now we're going to go do our best down there tomorrow.
And, you know, I guess y'all might feel differently, but at least for me, I kind of feel like this is maybe a little bit of a weird game, just a weird kind of mood surrounding this game because, you know, TCU clinched and, you know, the seeding is maybe irrelevant because I assume that y'all want first. But at the same time, like, you know, there's a postseason next semester and there's, you know, seeding implications there. So I guess, does this game feel kind of weird to you just for what's exactly at stake?
Honestly, not really. I personally treat this as just another Big 12 game that you've got to get up and get ready for. And no matter what happens in the spring, you know, you can't really let that affect how you approach this game. You just have to approach it like any other. So that's kind of my mentality going into tomorrow. And, you know, honestly, just continuing to be thankful that we've gotten to play games thus far. And, you know, hopefully that continues into the spring.
And my last question for you is, have you had any contact with anyone on the OU team? I don't know if you know any Sooners that play over there, but have you had any contact with anyone on the team about this game?
I actually don't know anybody on OU. I guess being from Texas, that makes it a little bit more difficult to be friends with them. But yeah, I don't know. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when we show up tomorrow.
No doubt. Well, I'll pass it off to Ben. We're actually making the trip ourselves, Ben and I, to Norman. So I guess it'll be weird seeing y'all on the other sideline, but we're looking forward to it.
Good. Awesome.
Hey, Hannah, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. And I wanted to ask you a little bit about kind of the season as a whole, maybe reflecting back on all that has transpired in this crazy season. What's been the happiest moment of the season for you?
Ooh, happiest moment. I think I definitely have to say the West Virginia game. They're always a very talented team. They have some extremely talented girls. And for them to come to Neil Patterson and us to beat them for only the second time in program history, I mean, that was incredible. That feeling was really, really awesome. And that's a moment that I definitely won't forget this year.
Certainly. Did you also have a craziest moment of the season?
I'm trying to think of that as Colin was getting asked that. Oh gosh, I know there's like random times in practice when like I don't know, somebody gets. I mean, I kicked the ball into Grace's gut yesterday and she fell down. And that was pretty funny, but I honestly can't. I don't know. I know there's funny things that have happened, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. If I think, I'll get back to you.
Gotcha. And what was the craziest moment of the season for you? No.
Craziest moment?
Mm-hmm.
Probably the West Virginia game. Like, that game was pretty crazy. Just beating them in overtime with, like, 20 seconds left, something. Like, almost no time. Like, we were going to end that game in a tie until this came through with an awesome goal. So that was pretty crazy. But also my happy moment.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha. Thanks very much, Hannah.
You're welcome.
Anything else for Hannah? Nope.
I think we're good.
All right, move on to Grace. Thanks, Hannah.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Hey, Grace. How are you?
Hi. Good. How are you?
Doing well. So I'm going to start off the questions by asking, so playing in Norman, what's the, is there anything unique about Norman playing in that stadium, in that atmosphere?
Obviously Bedlam, anytime you go to OU, it's going to be crazy, but since our rivalry is so big, you know, it's going to be a crazy game. And I think going into that, we need to be prepared and be ready for that because, I mean, Colin's even told us teams that are often better than OU's gone in there and lost. And then OU sometimes is better, but OSU pulled out a win. So I think we just have to have the right mentality and go in ready for a battle.
And then one thing that I've kind of noticed when I've looked back on the last 5 trips to Norman is that they haven't all been as successful as I think a lot of people were expecting. And so for you guys going in there, how do you maintain a lead if you get that lead? And how does that, is your mindset going to change in a rivalry game when you have the lead instead of just a regular game in the year?
I think maybe if we'll have a lead to keep going because it is a rivalry game, so we want to, just kill them as much as we can. But I think that the biggest thing for a game like that, when everyone's kind of running around crazy in the beginning, is just trying to stay composed, trying to be focused, and not make it bigger than it is. Because I think that happens a lot with games like this. Is, we hype it up so much that we get there and we're all, amped up. But to just kind of take a breath and take it minute by minute, play by play, and just kind of fall back on what we know we can do. We're a good team, and just do what we've been working on in practice.
And then how easy is that to translate that mentality to a lot of the younger players that might not have played in many of these kind of rivalry games?
Yeah, it's definitely tough. Even like my freshman year, I remember being wide-eyed. 4,000 people opening in Neil Patterson Stadium. I was freaking out. So I think just as older players and as leaders on the team, being able for them to look to us and us being there to help them and encourage them is going to be huge.
Is this kind of playing since this one's at the end? Is this kind of a blessing in disguise that it's not the first game of the season, so that you kind of have more time to acclimate yourself?
That definitely, because yeah, like Webb said, we were scheduled to play them in the beginning, and I think over the course of the season we've only gotten better, and I think we're playing some really good stuff right now, and it's kind of like a mini championship in and of itself because TCU's already won, so but this is a huge game for us, and we need to come out with a win.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, Grace.
What's up?
The usual. So I'll ask you, I remember one of the first articles I wrote on the soccer beat was about how y'all were so excited that the OU game was first in the season and y'all could have a crack at them to start it up. Obviously that never transpired, but I'll ask you now, how, I guess first, how bummed out were you when the game got canceled? Do you remember?
Yeah, I mean, obviously when any game gets canceled, you're bummed out, and especially because the year we've had, we just wanted to play. We didn't really care who it was, but with a game like that and it being OU, we were really excited to play them. But nonetheless, I think that we've only been getting better. So, like you said, blessing in disguise to play them now. But we're really excited. We hope we can get a win.
And did you think that this day would ever come when you get to play them? You know, I guess it was kind of a far out, you know, when you're starting the season and you're like, well, maybe if the season stays intact, we'll play them at the end. Did you allow yourself to believe that maybe you'd get a chance at OU, or were you always kind of anticipating that?
No, I was just kind of focusing on every game. I try not to get too ahead of myself because of like you said, the season could end at any minute. So I tried to kind of take it game by game and not get too excited or even overwhelmed because sometimes that happens in a season. But yeah, I'm just excited to play them towards the end of the season now.
And Grace, what do you think it's like to be a senior in this position where you're kind of deciding you could take up the chance on an extra year that you didn't know you'd have? And, you know, what factors do you think go into a decision like that? Whether you're picking up.
I still have another year left. So
yeah.
My decision is definitely going to be based on, you know, what happens over Christmas and then next year and see how that plays out. But it is a huge decision, and it not only affects, you know, me, but affects my team and, you know, what the coaches do for the next recruiting class. So it is a huge decision and one that a lot of us are going to have to make. But we're kind of relying on each other and we're looking to each other for some information. And the coach has been really great about it, though. So I don't know. It's crazy. Never thought I'd have to do this, and then again, we get a whole other year of soccer, so we'll see.
Yeah. No doubt. And the last question I'll ask you is, you know, I guess from an outsider's perspective, this game it just has kind of a weird feel around it because, you know, TCU already clinched, like the standings are there in kind of solidified. But on the other end, you know, the postseason seeding games matter. You know, we're not sure. I don't think we're sure how many teams are going to be allowed in the next tournament. So every time you can get a chance to impress the rankings, you're going to want to do that. Does this game feel kind of weird just with what's at stake and it being at the end of the season?
Well, I don't know if weird is the word, but more of kind of like you mentioned it. Colin's even said, like, this game is huge in terms of seeding and in terms of if we get into the NCAA tournament next year or next season. If we come out in third place in the Big 12, that looks really good. If we drop to fourth, you know, that may hurt us because the tournament might just say, okay, top 3 teams of the Big 12, they're in. If we're not in that because we lose to OU, then we're gonna be looking at ourselves thinking what the hell happened, you know? So I don't know. It is a weird game in the fact that we had an off week last weekend, but nonetheless, like kind of like Webb said, if you're not excited for this game, then what are you doing here? So we're all pumped, we're ready to go, and we're just ready to hopefully beat them.
No doubt. I'll pass it over to Ben. Grace, Hannah just told me one of the funniest moments of the whole season was hitting you in the gut with a soccer ball yesterday.
I know. I didn't think it was that funny, so I don't know what she's talking about.
Do you have a funniest moment of the season? Maybe, you know, that time you accidentally hit Hannah with a soccer ball.
No, that happens all the time. I'm just kidding. Probably the funniest, I don't know. I would say a lot of funny moments happen when we're on away trips. In the hotels or whatever, like goofing off and spending time with each other. So we haven't gotten to do a lot of that this year, which has been sad. But Colin always makes fun of Allie whenever Allie's the defender, obviously. So whenever she's shooting, we're doing shooting drills. She always, not always, but sometimes guys it over the goal. And so Colin always has some snarky comments to say to her, and it's funny because it gets her riled up. But maybe there's comments.
That's certainly, I like that a lot. What was the happiest moment of the season for you, Grace?
Say that again?
What was the happiest moment of the season for you?
Happiest? I've heard Webb and Colin say that West Virginia, obviously, because we beat them in overtime, and that was crazy. So I'd probably say that, but also maybe Texas, because we come off to a tie and 2 losses, so we were in need for a win, and just kind of the relief of getting back on track and playing well, and everybody kind of being like, okay, we got this. We're still a good team. Nothing's changed. So that might have been up there with like one of the better moments of the season, just because we had some adversity, but nonetheless we came through and pulled out a win then.
Yeah, and I also wanted to ask you the other side of the coin. What was the most disappointing or maybe just saddest moment of this season that you guys had as a team?
Now looking back, definitely TCU. Because, probably TCU. Because, we were winning with 3 minutes left in the game. So when you look back at it, had we won that game, and if we go on to beat OU next week, and Paul was telling me this, we could have been co-champs, co-Big 12 champs with our record and their record, had it played out like that. So probably just, after seeing everything play out the way it did, looking back. But, Kansas, we didn't play up to our potential, but TCU was just kind of a heartbreaker in that, and felt like we deserved at least a tie or something, but to come out winning or being on top to now losing, that was tough.
What do you specifically remember about walking off of that field against TCU?
Just feel like, what could we have done better? Myself included, what could I have done better? There's a ton of things I could have done better in that game, and I think as a team, we didn't execute, and we didn't play as a team. So I think just the feeling of regret, and because once the time's up, there's no getting that back, and that's kind of the hardest thing. And losing a game is just you know that you could have done things better, and we went back and watched film and we went over it, but yeah, that was definitely a hard moment for sure.
Yeah, and the last kind of thing I want to ask you about is the craziest moment you guys had as a team. I think back to that Iowa State game. That game ended pretty crazy. Certainly the craziest soccer match I've watched. Do you have a different craziest moment, or?
No, I think you're spot on with that one, and especially just like you said, the way it played out, and then Liv getting that PK, and then someone having to step up, and then me I wasn't having my best game, so obviously, taking PK is all about confidence, and if you're not confident, you've already lost, you've already missed. So I was pretty nervous for that, but yeah, just the way that went was insane.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Well, Grace, you were always so good to the media and answering questions with thoughtful answers and stuff. So thank you for that all season. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you guys. Y'all been great this season, and look forward to next season. Mm-hmm. Is that good?
Actually, can I ask one more real quick?
Yes.
I was actually going to ask, is Coach Carmichael still in the room? I don't know.
Colin. No. What? They want you.
Well, I couldn't think of one thing.
Oh, sorry, Coach, to bring you back in here. I just had one quick question that I noticed. I remember during the Texas Tech game, there was a coach for Texas Tech that was standing up on the Gatorade cooler the whole match. And I was wondering, would you ever, A, consider that, and B, what do you think that offers to kind of enhance your level of coaching?
I have no idea. I don't know which coach it was because I wasn't looking. I know those guys really well, so I don't know if it was Gibbs or Nick or whatever. To be fair, I could see Justin standing up on it to get a better view maybe, but for me, I don't think that's going to happen. Just kidding. That was my joke on Justin.
I thought that was funny. Just wanted to get your thoughts on that, but thank you.
You got it.
Is that everything? We good?
Yeah, I think so. Mm-hmm.
All righty.
All right.
Thank you, Coach.